of which we have Al Butta on the call. And Al is an Insanity Max 30 cast member, Star Diamond coach. He has been at coaching for a while, and he knows the business inside and out, and I'm proud to present him to you. Al, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story.
What's up, guys? So first of all, thank you, Brian. Thank you, Jen, for inviting me on your call. It really means a lot to me that you guys asked me to do this, because I'm always honored and honestly a little scared to tell my story, because it's one of those things that makes us uncomfortable. But I know that as a coach, it's one of those things that I have to do, and that we all should be, practicing as often as we can. So thanks guys for giving me the chance to do it. But like Brian said, I've been a coach for, I guess, four and a half years now, which is a while. It's a long time, and I'm actually surprised at how fast, the time flies. And so I want to give you guys a little bit of background on me and my story, on my fitness story, on my emotional and mental transformation as well, and even some coaching tips. If you guys have any questions, I'll open up a Q&A at the end of it. So you'll feel free to ask me anything you want. So if that's okay with you guys, that's kind of the format that we'll do today. And so I guess my fitness journey started when I was a teenager. Like most guys, I guess when I was about 16, 17, maybe 18. I wanted to be fit. I wanted to have a six-pack. I wanted to, have muscles and be strong. And so what I did was I went to the gym. Like most people back then, I went to the gym and I got a few personal trainers, and, I got pretty good results. And I kind of learned what I needed to learn from them after, I guess, I don't know, a year or two from having a variety of personal trainers and getting my results. Interestingly enough, I remember a personal trainer who would work me to the bone, man. It was a woman, and she was badass. And every session that we had after it was over, she took me to Burger King, and she actually bought me 2 double cheeseburgers. And I thought, I'm piling on the pounds and I'm getting strong and I'm getting more. I had no idea what I was doing, So I just did whatever she told me to do. So, I've come a long way from eating burgers. I don't eat burgers, from Burger King. I haven't been there in I don't know how long. But that's a whole other story. And it kind of goes to show the ways that, we learn to do things because someone else tells us it's good or it's the right way to approach something. But after a while, after having so many personal trainers and learning what I needed to learn, I kind of hit a plateau. So as a side note, I've always been really lazy. I don't know if you can tell, but I struggle, and I still do a little bit today, struggle with procrastination. I struggle with laziness. I struggle with being, having low confidence. I never set any goals for myself. I just didn't believe that I was able or capable of achieving or doing much. So most of my life, I really just laid low. I was just under the radar. I didn't really strive for anything. I think maybe fitness was one of those things where I kind of excelled at it, but that was it. Anything mental in terms of being smart or intelligent, or I was average at best. Like, honestly, I wasn't, at least I didn't think I was the brightest kid. So, and I'll get to, more on that later, but after I hit my plateau in the gym, I did what I did best, and I stopped going, and I was just lazy. So I was that guy sitting on the couch, 4 a.m., flipping through the channels. And I, like a lot of people have, I found that P90X commercial way back then, when it first came out. And I looked it up and I'm like, could that be real? I wasn't sure. And just so you guys know, I'm that guy who bought stuff from the infomercials. So I tried, I don't know if you remember that ab belt. I tried that. I got that. I didn't get abs. It's a bunch of crap. I didn't get abs. I did get ripped off, but I didn't get abs because it just didn't work. It was a bunch of crap, So, but I got it thinking that, hey, this is going to be the thing. It's going to work for me. So I saw that P90X commercial and I was researching it for like 2 months. And I was looking on YouTube and Googling it and looking at on blogs, trying to figure out if this thing was for real. And I couldn't find anything I couldn't find any negative reviews about it. It was just people's videos and pictures and stories about how it worked and how it was hard. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll try it. And if, worst comes to worst, I'll just send it back and I get my money back. So I got it. And when I got it, it took me about a week or so to get started. Yeah, I definitely got ripped off. So when I first tried P90X, I think I made it to about the first or second week before I quit. I'm like, yeah, this shit is just hard. It was just painful. After the first day, my body was killing me because it was a hard workout. I don't know if you've tried it. I think everybody should at least attempt it, but it was very challenging to say the least. And I made it about 2 weeks into that program before I quit. And I was like, this is just too hard. I can't do it. I don't want to finish it. I just didn't want to do it. So I took some time off and then I came back to it. And I'm like, I either have to send it back now, because it was almost, I did 2 weeks. I waited a week. That's 3 weeks. I waited another week or so. I'm like, I can't send it back. So let me try it again. So I did. And I think I made it an extra week and I quit again. I'm like, it's just hard. I just can't, So long story short, I think I quit twice, maybe 3 times I quit before I finally finished the whole program. It's 90 days. And I did every single day without missing a day. Granted, I did not follow the meal plan. It's always been my weakness. I've never followed any meal plan, honestly. Maybe when 21 Day Fix came out, I started to follow the meal plans, but I just made better choices. That's all I really did. Especially back then, I didn't have a lot of food available to me. I didn't have my own place. I didn't buy my own groceries. So I just kind of made better choices, but I followed the workout to a T and I got great results. I didn't measure, I didn't weigh, I didn't do any of those things, but it got to the point where people at work started noticing my results and they were like, dude, like, what the hell are you doing? Because you didn't look like this a few months ago. And, I don't know how much muscle I gained, but it was noticeable, and I guess I actually started coaching, 20 years ago when God damn, it's 20 years. It's a long time ago. I started coaching when I did P90X because people would ask me and I'd be like, yo, here's my DVDs. I would give it to them. I would even burn copies of it. And I'd be like, hey, let me help you. This is what I did. You can do it too. Let's do this together. But what I found was that nobody did it. I made a lot of copies of that stuff, a lot. And I gave it out to 10 people. I remember specifically because there was a lot of DVDs you had to copy. But I gave it to 10 people and only one person tried it. And what I learned was that when you give something of value to somebody for free, they tend to not value it in return. I know it worked because I got ridiculous results. I give that program 90-ish% credit for the body I have today and the foundation in my fitness. But I gave it to people, willingly, and they just didn't appreciate it. They didn't know how to value what I was giving to them. And so they didn't do it, and yeah, no investment, there's no value when people don't understand what they're actually getting. So I guess fast forward to today or somewhere in between, the reasons why I actually continued on my fitness journey after P90X was because I found out I had, my back was too straight and I also have a herniated disc. So I continued to work out, not for the results, and it's great to have a six pack and it's great to feel good and be healthy and be fit. But a big reason why I kept working out every single day is because when I don't work out and I stay, I get stagnant and I just don't move, I can literally feel my body deteriorating. So I have to physically work out and move to keep myself in shape, because if I don't, I feel horrible. I've been in agonizing pain. There were points in my life when I went to the chiropractor and I saw doctors 4 and 5 days a week to get adjustments and to, and I can still crack my neck to this day. I can crack almost every bone in my body, and that's not good for me, but it helped me feel better, but it took its toll on my joints. So I do what I do because I know how I feel when I don't. And it's something that I never want to feel again. You know, it's hard to describe unless you've actually had back pain. You know, there were days where I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't tie my shoes. You know, I couldn't, if you drive, you know how you're in, in the driver's seat and you have a side view mirror, you know, I couldn't, that was about as far as I could turn my head from here to here without screaming in agonizing pain. I couldn't look at my side mirrors. It was that bad. So I found out that exercise actually, you know, after I pushed past the pain of having the pain in my body from doing the exercises, I started to get healthier. And once I pushed past that, I felt a lot better, and I maintained it, and it kept me in shape, and it prevented me from experiencing that pain from the misalignments in my spine and my, you know, my spine being too straight and my herniated disc. So those are the reasons why I continue to work out every single day for the most part. What else is there to say? So my mental emotional journey and my mindset, it, like I mentioned before, I still do struggle with just not really thinking much of myself. And you would never believe it. You would never think, at least I hope, that, you know, you didn't think I was somebody who had, when I say zero, I mean absolutely no confidence. You know, being on this call is huge because I'm here speaking with confidence and conviction. 4 years ago, I was shitting bricks, man. I was scared. I was prepping for a week and a half with notes, and I was looking down, and I was shy, and I was just like sweating, and I didn't know what to say or how to say it. I couldn't convey what I had in here or here in any logical or, you know, easy to understand way, because that's who I used to be. And once I figured out that there's so much more inside of me that I had to share, and once I learned that I had an actual obligation to share that with people, because like who the hell am I to not share that with somebody who can possibly benefit from what I have to share, whether it's a smile, whether it's a kind word, whether it's an experience that I had, whatever it is. We all have something inside of us, however insignificant you think it might be, that will mean the world to somebody. So I encourage every single one of you guys to use your struggles to empower people, you know, because it's very valuable. We only grow and we only get better from learning from our mistakes. And it took me a long time to realize that. So I was always kind of into, you know, personal development. That's one of the things we should be doing every single day as a coach. And I would read books and listen to audios, and I try to kind of brainwash myself with the good stuff, because there was just so much negativity around me everywhere I went, in school, at work, in my environment, at home, in my neighborhood. And there was just enough negativity that I didn't need any more of it. You know, I'm sure no one else needs more negativity. So it was only up until maybe, I guess, when I started as a coach, and I actually surrounded myself with people who thought the way I was thinking, and said the same things that I was thinking to myself, and acted the way I wanted to act, and had the same type of goals that I started to have. That's when I realized that I don't have to stay stuck in that mindset. You know, I read books like The Secret, and I saw the movie The Secret on Netflix. It's my number one go-to. If you guys want any recommendations, I would start there. You know, I fully believe that you do attract things into your life, whether you know it or not. And you have control of that, you know, and the sooner you believe you actually can, the better off you'll be, because we're always attracting something into our life, whether we know it or not, whether we want it or not. So if you had control of that, why wouldn't you want to attract the best, most amazing situations and people and finances and health and love and just everything into your life, you know? But we're just so conditioned to attack and defend and to you know, think about the worst case scenario in most cases. And life doesn't have to be that way, you know? That's one of the biggest things I learned in my journey, in my emotional journey, in my mental transformation, is that I literally can be whatever I want to be, you know? It doesn't matter what it is. It really is just a matter of perspective. It's a matter of perspective because, you know, I think I heard a quote, not a quote, but I heard a story about I don't know who it was, but it was an author who wrote one of these. I think it was Think and Grow Rich. I might have been in that book. He said that he brings in a billionaire, right, to a meeting where everyone in the meeting is a millionaire. And he brings in this billionaire to like give him the business and say, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you slacking so much? You could be doing so much more with yourself, with your life, with your family, with your business, with your mindset. Look at you, you're just a millionaire, right? This is coming from a billionaire. And so most of us sitting here looking at the millionaire like, oh my God, wow, like if I could be a millionaire, that would be so amazing. And the millionaires are sitting there looking at this billionaire like, wow, like, you know, there's so much potential. But at the end of the day, it's just a mindset. It's just a mindset shift. And when you start to look at things differently, what you look at will change. The way you look at life changes, you know? I remember a girl that I was dating. I don't know, I was probably 24, maybe, you know, it was a long time ago. And she had an ex-boyfriend who was also, so we were young, you know, the whole point was that we were all young. All three of us were young. And this guy worked at some kind of brokerage firm. You know, he was in his 20s. And this kid, you know, because he's in his 20s, anybody who's in their 20s is technically still a kid. He was making $50,000 a month. This kid in his 20s, you know, and over the years I got to know him, and they eventually got back together. And it was crazy because I looked at he had a library in his apartment. By the way, a phenomenal place. It was huge. It was a beautiful apartment. And it was all Tony Robbins. It was all educational tapes. It was all motivational. You know, back then it was cassettes, maybe some DVDs, a ton of books. And I remember him just giving it all to me. Now, he didn't give it to me physically. He just downloaded everything. He gave me access to everything. And I'm like, wow. Like, that's the mindset of somebody who knows, who gets it, you know, who isn't a holdback, or who isn't someone who wants to keep things for himself and loves to share and loves to spread the wealth, the knowledge with everyone he meets. And I didn't get it until recently, maybe a few years ago, where I just didn't click how he was where he was in his life. You know, what stood out to me is that I was born here in the United States, but my parents are Dominican, and they were also Dominican. You know, I think he wasn't born in this country, but she was. And so that's what kind of attracted us to each other, was that we had the same heritage and we understood each other on a certain level. But what the heck separated him from me, you know? And the answer is nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Just his mindset. Just the only thing that separated us was what he thought he was capable of and what he thought he could do with himself in his life. You know, I just didn't know any better. And the day he shared all that information with me, I kind of just never looked back. You know, I've been immersed in personal development my whole life, and I've learned, you know, and it was a struggle. In the beginning, I definitely had a lot in myself, a lot. I had a lot in myself, and these are the things I said to myself. I'm sexy, I'm smart, I don't have back pain, which I learned later to say, I feel great, right? Because when you come from a negative point of view, if you say, I don't have back pain, the universe only hears back pain. You know, it's coming from the standpoint of lacking health versus saying, I feel freaking awesome. I feel so good. I feel amazing. I'm in perfect health. There's no negativity around those statements. And so once you start to kind of catch yourself about what you say to yourself, your life will change because you'll start to see things differently. And today I'm really sensitive to energy. I'm really sensitive to people's energy and to the energy around me, and how I speak to myself. I'm very careful about what I say to myself because you're always in your head. You're always in your head, and you're the one person you speak to the most is you. So if you're not saying the best things to yourself, I really recommend you start to read or listen to some personal development. Listen to something that's going to make you happy, something that changes your outlook on life. And it doesn't matter who or what it is, as long as it makes you feel really good. If it makes you feel good and it puts a smile on your face and it helps you be better to you, first of all, and then to others as well, it's a good thing to do every single day, daily. Do it every single day because your life will change. I promise you. What else? I don't know. I'm talking a bunch here. I don't know. Personal development is just so key for me, guys. It's one of those things that I always come back to because it's changed my life. It really has changed my life. Like I said, I struggled with all those things in the past, but either not anymore or not so much. And what I found empowered me a lot was actually sharing this with other people, you know? So one of the things that if you've ever been to any of my classes before, if you're a coach on my team, or if I've ever helped you with anything on a deeper level, you'll know that I almost never I don't accept excuses because I was there. I'm like the king of making excuses. I was making excuses for excuses. I didn't know I was doing it. It was crazy. I had no idea, you know? And it took people who really cared about me / fed up with me to be like, yo, cut the shit out. Like, there you go again. You're doing it again. You don't even know you're doing it. So recognizing myself, learning about me, you know, having someone tell me about myself, you know, was a really awakening moment for me because I didn't know. I'm in my own little bubble of who I think I am, and we all are, I think. And sometimes it takes someone from the outside looking in to say, this is how you really are. This is how you appear to other people. And you might, you know, it might behoove you to be mindful of that so that you can make adjustments if you need to. You know, be your authentic self always, but also, you know, realize that it's not about you. The world doesn't revolve around you, and there's other people around you. So, you know, be mindful, be kind, and know how other people perceive you so you can interact with them on a pleasant level. So that's something that I had to learn about myself because I was selfish, man. I was real selfish, and not in a mean way, but more of I wasn't aware of it way, you know? So I'm glad that someone had, you know, told me about myself so that I can say, like, I gotta change. I really need to change the way I think and act around other people because I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to get or give the wrong impression, you know? So definitely when you help people, when you take what you've been through and share that with other people, it's so valuable because I promise you guys, you're not the only one. Whatever it is you think you're going through and that, oh my God, this is so horrible and it's just me and no one gets it. There's a lot of people out there who know what you're going through and either have been through it or are either going through something worse, or maybe they've conquered it, you know, and you guys can share information that way and help each other out. But when I decided to share my struggles with people, I found out I wasn't the only one. They found out they weren't the only one. And then we created that bond and we started to work on a solution. Whether we did it consciously or not, it was something that we had in common. So even just a natural conversation, you know, I'd be like, I get it. Like, I know what you're going through, but I get it, you know? And even that consolation was just like, man, it feels good. And it helps that other person knowing that someone else kind of gets it. And maybe you overcame something and you can say, you know, I get it. Not only do I get it, but here's what I did to get better. You know, maybe that might help you. You should give that a shot. So, and that's how coaching kind of started for me. The fitness, I've always loved fitness. I didn't know I loved sharing it so much until I became a coach. And then the emotional and the mental part of it, which is so huge, I guess it was just always in me, but I never had the confidence. I never knew it existed. I never knew I was this able to share that in a way that would help somebody. You know, I became an instructor. I teach insanity classes, and it's nothing that I ever dreamed of doing. I didn't have it as a goal. If you guys know Mike Patel, he bullied me into doing it, and I'm forever grateful to him because it changed my life. You know, who the hell thought that I would be so good at it? You know, I get up there, like I said, the same way I did with these calls. I'd sit there and practice and memorize and have notes. And now, you know, I show up 10 minutes before class and I'm on. And whatever I say, whatever comes out, it comes from here. So there is no script. I don't rehearse anything. I just say what I feel, and that's always more than enough. So if you approach your business the same way, if you always say what you feel and mean what you say and genuinely help people, get to know who they are, you'll never feel like a salesperson. If you get to know who they are and you genuinely want to help them overcome their struggles and you find ways to do that. But here's the key. If you do that and you do it in a way that where you don't expect anything in return, that's when it's kind of like, that's like the knockout punch in a sense, because most people are sold to, we're all being sold to, whether it's commercials or in media or TV or advertisements, whatever it is, even parents sell broccoli to their kids. Like, you're going to eat this or we're not going to the beach, or you want peas or carrots, one way or another, they're going to get their broccoli, they're going to get their vegetables. So we're all salespeople, even if, we don't think we are, but how you approach it, is big. It's really huge on how you approach it, because if you're approaching it from the sense of you gaining something, it'll never work and they'll see right through it. But if you're not trying to sell anything and you're just genuinely trying to help somebody with something they say they want to help with, then it will come across as sincere. As long as you always continue to do it and you always continue to do it without expecting anything in return, people will sense that you're genuine. And you'll get better at that. You'll get so much better at that because the more you do it, the more you get better. You keep practicing. So, did I miss anything? I don't know if you guys have any questions, or because I can talk, guys. I can talk for a long time.
How do you follow that up? That's awesome. It's like mic drop after mic drop after mic drop. Bye, guys. That was the call.
Thank you.
But if anyone has any questions, feel free to type in the chat or unmute yourself, even better, and ask Al. But I'll just recap a few things I thought were great. First of all, let me say that you're very intelligent.
Thank you.
And I'm not going to go so far as to say that you're sexy, but you are rich.
I'll take it.
But you talked about bulging discs too. I have L4, L5, and kind of like a similar story. If I don't do anything, I feel like crap. But then when I do stuff, I feel much better. So like I'm basically forced to exercise.
Yeah.
The same thing. But you mentioned confidence, and you mentioned that you were scared to do calls like this, like just a few years ago. But obviously you've grown so much since then. So can you speak to kind of like that process? Because I know myself, I was, a lot of social anxiety going into these calls and, not knowing what to say and not knowing how I was going to be received, and just, so much nervousness and anxiety surrounding it that it became really painful for me. But, just as yourself, I just kept on doing it, and I got, acclimated to the process, and I'm much more comfortable right now. But can you speak to like that process in yourself and how it kind of worked out?
Yeah. So for me, what I personally did, I didn't seek to get better at these calls or public speaking. I looked into it, but it was something that, like I said, I'm a procrastinator, and I had zero follow through. So I looked at public speaking websites and I never followed through. But what actually ended up working out for me was I just did more of them. I just did more calls. And specifically, I found a topic that I felt comfortable with speaking on, and I did it a lot. So a couple of years ago, for me, it was Team Cycle Bonus, and it was the ranking system and how to earn as a coach. So about a year ago, I was working an overnight job, and I quit about almost a year ago to be a coach, a full-time coach and instructor. So when I was working, or when I was supposed to be working, I was in that back office, and I learned that inside out. I learned everything I could while I was at work. So I can say that now because I quit. So that's what I did while I was supposed to be working. I was doing that. So I felt really comfortable. So I learned the material. I kind of internalized what I wanted to say and how I understood it. So I understood it well. And then I did calls for my team over and over and over and over again. So that's what gave me the confidence to speak on a specific topic. So after maybe the fifth or sixth call, you know, it'd be like an hour-long call. That's enough, you know, between the, you know, the rehearsing of it, looking at my notes, understanding the material, being able to feel some questions. It got me really comfortable speaking on that topic. And that's the thing about confidence. There's going to be things that you are good at, and you naturally are going to be confident in those things, and you have no problem sharing about it. But if it's something you haven't done or you're not experienced in doing, then you're going to have less confidence. So for me, it was finding that one thing that I was good at and then sharing that often. And the more I shared it, the better I got at it. So now whenever anyone wanted a team call on that topic, they always called me. And I was like, all right, great. Like, I'm good at that. So I can do it over, no problem. And then the key would be to find more things to be better at and then do those as many times as it takes for you to feel comfortable and have that confidence. So that's how I did it. I just kept repeating the same process.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to repeat, like, you know, exactly what you said. The key is to do it. I think, you know, anyone can do research on a topic, and even coaching, people can do all the research in the world and make sure it's the right opportunity, but actually, like, take zero action with it. So speaking on, like, let's say something like speaking to a team or whatever, like, absolutely, you could have done all the research in the world about team cycle bonuses, about, you know, rank advancement, what that means. But yet, if you don't actually put it into action, then you're not doing anything, whether it's working your own business or doing the things that you have to do in order to overcome those fears. And that's like one of, like, I see that as a commonality in a lot of people's businesses where it's no, like you said, and it's hard sometimes because I'm guilty of it too, that follow through. You know, like you want to achieve it so badly, but that last component is missing because that's what people fear most. And I know a lot of people struggle with it. We do too. You know, we just had like a webinar and we were like, I was like a little rusty, and then I was like, I can't look at anybody because they're just gonna throw me off completely. But I knew that if I stopped right then and there, as much as I wanted to just stop recording and be like, okay, do over, I just had to go through it and take those punches because, you know, it's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be done, and I can guarantee you next time it's gonna be better.
Yeah.
So that's a huge teachable moment right there because, you know, like Jeff Hill says, prior preparation prevents poor performance, the 5 Ps.
I'm not saying
and that's what you did. I mean, you learned the topic and then you prepared so well, and you know that anxiety kind of drove you to prepare that well, but you did that a few times, and then now you got yourself to the point where you don't even need that preparation because it's all been done before in the past, which is great. And you know, I encourage anyone that's afraid to speak on a team call and make a live video or whatever, just put yourself out there, take a few notes, research the topic, know what you're gonna say, go live, do the team call, do whatever it is, and in time, maybe the first one's not gonna be that great, and look, it's
going to be rough.
There's only a few of us on the call, and that's fine. So, and then also with live videos, if you happen to do a live video and it's not that great, you could always delete it. So, and that's a good thing too. So, you know, just put yourself out there and you'll grow as well. Another thing that you said too is you talked about self-talk, and I wrote down abundance mentality because, you know, we could like literally talk ourselves out or into anything. And, you know, the more we talk ourselves into the positive mindset, goals, activities, the more we're going to succeed in life and in this business. And you can't do something without believing that, you know, if you put forth effort, you're going to experience some results. I mean, Michael Jordan says, I always believe that if you put in the work, the results will come, and he knows a thing or two about achievement. I love how you say what you feel and mean what you say. That was awesome. Do you want to say more about that? You want to talk more about that?
Say what you feel and mean what you say.
Yeah.
Well, that says say what you feel, mean what you say. Yeah. So one of the things that I learned about myself and about connecting with people is to do just that, is to say what you feel, for a number of reasons. For me, I've always been scared to share my feelings and share my emotions and how I really felt on the inside. And if you ask me why, I probably wouldn't be able to answer it, because it was just one of those things that's messy in the head and in the heart, and you can't pinpoint it. It's just one of those things that's hard to define. You just know it feels uncomfortable. You know, it's kind of like telling someone that you love them for the first time in a romantic relationship. Like, you don't want to be the first one, you know, but it's going to happen. So you want to, it's one of those weird things. And I've learned that there's a lot of uncomfortableness surrounding people's emotions and feelings. And it comes down to fear, and it comes down to pain, and no one wants to get hurt. And that's what it comes down to. But when you say what you feel to anyone, and it's authentic and it's not in like a hurtful kind of way, it's just being who you are. It really is putting yourself out there, and it's also being vulnerable, because now you're just like out in the open. This is the truth about how I feel. This is who I am. This is something about me, and I'm saying it out loud to you. But what that does, whether it's good or bad, it creates a connection. It creates a connection when you say how you feel and when you're genuine. And when you mean what you say? Was that the second half of what I said? When you mean what you say, it's another way of just saying what you feel. Because when you say what you feel and you mean it, then there's a level of definiteness behind that, you know? It's kind of like saying, you know, hey, come over anytime. You know, I saw a show, I don't know, 30 years ago on TV. It was something like, hey, come over anytime you want. And the whole joke was, how many times have I invited you to my house? Like 1 billion. How many times have you actually been here? None. You know what I mean? There's no concrete, there's nothing standing firm behind that statement. But when you feel something and you want to let somebody know, and you say that to them, and you're really firm about it, in a sense that they know you're being genuine and honest and real, and you do it in a loving way, it makes an impact on somebody. You know, everybody on this call knows someone else on this call. You probably don't know the first words that you said to that person, right? However long ago it was, or however recently it was, but you do remember how they made you feel. And that's something that you can never forget. You know, you remember how you felt when you first saw them or spoke to them. You probably said hi, but you don't know what the first words were, because that's not what's important. What's important was how you felt when you first spoke to them. And when you say what you feel, that makes an impact, you know, and when you mean that and you're genuine, whether it's talking about coaching or not, it makes an impact on people, and your life improves because of that, you know. Today I went with Mike to Magnolia Bakery, and I didn't know him 4.5 years ago. I didn't know who he was, you know. Today, I'm not gonna say I trust him with my life, but I do. You know what I mean? Like, the guy is fucking awesome. He's phenomenal, and he does so much for people. And he never asks for anything in return. And that's a real genuine guy. He's one of those guys who says what he feels and means what he says. You know, so that's the kind of person that I would do anything for. He just has to, and I have, trust me, I have. Brian, we were at that men's event in Dallas.
Yeah.
The only reason I was there, I'll tell you right now, I had this much intention of going. It took like 20 minutes on a phone call before it was over. I had a flight booked and a room booked. I didn't book a room, actually, because I stayed with you guys, right?
Yeah.
I don't know who I stayed with.
Me and Steve.
You and Steve. I didn't have a room. It was like, I don't know, a week before, whatever it was.
Yeah.
All he had to do was be like, yo, bro, you going? I was like, okay, I guess I'm going now. Because he's just one of those kind of guys. And you want to surround yourself with people who are going to improve, who help you improve, and who help push you out of your comfort zone in a really good way. Because of him, my entire life is different. Like, I would not have been able to quit my job. I wouldn't be an insanity instructor. I probably wouldn't have even have been in Max 30 if it wasn't for him. You know, so there's so many aspects of my life that are immensely better because someone else decided to say something, really mean it, and stand behind what they said. You know, they changed my life. And because of who I am today, I now have the power, and I also have the responsibility to do that for so many other people, to do it for anyone else that I can. So if I can say something to somebody, whether I know it's going to help or change them or not, and it comes from my heart and I can tell them, and I can be honest with them, I don't know how it's going to impact them, but I'm just being me. Just be you guys. Just be you and genuinely just try to help as many people as you can. And you say what you feel and mean what you say, you can't go wrong. You don't have to hide anything. You don't have to hide anything. Just be yourself. You don't have to turn it on or off, or just be you.
That's it. Al, I always tell these guys that during Max 30, Sean specifically told us before we got into filming that they chose each one of us for a specific reason, and they didn't want us to get on camera and have a phony smile on the whole time, unless that's us.
Right.
Not you. They wanted, he's like, just be you, do you, because we chose you for a reason, and there's going to be someone out there in America that's going to connect with you. So just be yourself. So you do remember that?
I absolutely do. Yeah, I remember that. And I think we all asked him, like, why us? Like, you know, and I'm just like, what do I have? Like, why would you pick me, you know? And he said, we all had something different. And I think he said it was because of our energy. Yeah. There was something that he saw in each and every one of us that he was just like, yep, that's the one. Because the original Insanity cast, they were all fitness models, right? So I never did the original one, so I don't know. Yeah. But apparently they couldn't keep up. They couldn't do the workout. And they were all half passing out during, you know, the Insanity because they couldn't do it. They looked good on camera, but they weren't able to do it. And so he was just like, there's 1,000 people on the planet with abs and who are really fit, who look great on camera, and he can hire any professional to do Max 30, but he chose us for different reasons because of who we were as people and the kind of effect we had on others. And there was something unique about all of us. And he has that gift that he can see that in people.
And that happens with coaching too, right? Like the more we're ourselves,
yeah,
you know, and not being phony with that phony smile or whatever it is, the more we can just be ourselves, the better we connect with people.
It's true. You know, I still, that's actually the latest thing that I'm working on with myself is to get over that, because I had a huge fear, right? I'm changing what I'm saying to myself. I used to have a fear of what people thought of me. I used to fear their opinions of me. I used to fear me not being adequate or enough. You know, I used to fear people just criticizing me. You know, so many of us struggle with those things, and I have a huge fear of that. So I have a fear of not being accepted. So, and a lot of these things weren't in my face to me. It was something that was really deep inside of me, and that just was kind of oozing out. It became who I am and who I portrayed on social media and even in person. And so if you could imagine like a sponge with like soap deep inside the sponge, and you ever soak a sponge in water, but you don't squeeze it, and it's heavy and you know it's wet and it's just dripping drips of water, that was me. But I had all this fear and negativity and all this, I was just really scared on the inside, and you couldn't really see it on the outside, but every so often a little drip of water would ooze out because I was so filled on the inside with that fear. That was me. So I had to squeeze that sponge out and get rid of it all. And one of those things that I was afraid of was being the authentic me, who I was, and just let my goofiness, my nerdiness, my weirdness just shine out to the whole planet. And whoever accepted me did, and whoever didn't doesn't. And I had to be okay with that. And I still struggle with that. Like, there's things that I say, like, when these cameras are off and I'm at home alone and no one's here, I make some shitty ass faces and I make some stupid sounds, and I've got my neighbors like, is he okay in there? Like, what's going on? You know? And it's weird. And I'm telling you, I don't know why I'm telling you guys, but now you know. But it's those things that if I were to catch those on camera and share that with the world, that would be a really ultimate, authentic version of myself.
Al, you're only child, right?
I have a younger sister, actually, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because I do the same thing. I was wondering if it was like just because we need to entertain ourselves.
I mean, I've lived alone for a few years, so I do
Yeah.
have pretty good conversations with myself, I have to say. I always laugh at my own jokes, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things that I struggle with, and I'm still currently trying to overcome. So yeah, I forgot what the whole point was, but you know.
That was great though. Al, last thing I want you to speak on. You said do without expecting in return. How is that going to help us in life and in coaching?
Well, when it comes to coaching, I think a lot of people's fear, comes from not wanting to sound like a salesperson, not wanting to bother their friends or family, or just come across as like, hey, buy this thing from me. So when you speak to somebody in a genuine way without expecting anything in return, it creates that relationship of, wow, this person genuinely just wants to help me, and it doesn't matter. So if you say these things, if you say this to yourself, if it doesn't matter to you whether or not they buy something, and if they do, and they get it from someone else, and you still help them, and then you can be okay with that, now you're talking. Like, now you're coming from a place of genuine caring and helping, and I've had that happen to me, and I continue to help people. I routinely, so the whole idea comes from, I think, Gary Vaynerchuk. I didn't read the book, but I get the concept of his book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And the whole idea is to provide value, to give to people, to offer your services, to give help, to just continue to give so many times. And then maybe you kind of earn the right to ask for something in return. And his whole idea is to even kind of guilt people into buying something from you, because how could they not? Like, you've given them so much of your time, of your money, of yourself, of your experience, of your help, of your love, of your fitness, of your groups, of your expertise, you've given them everything, and you've never asked for anything in return. Wow. From that person's point of view, what kind of relationship do you think they have with you? It's like, wow, I can't believe this. Like, I've had people say, is that for free? And I'm like, yeah. It creates that value for people who are skeptical. And it does kind of give a seamless transition into life. If you treat people the same way, and you, like you said, Brian, provide ridiculous value to them, whether it's a stranger on the street, you're helping them with their, baby carriage, or their groceries up the stairs or down the stairs, it doesn't matter what it is. As long as you're always focused on giving more to people than you're asking in return, then you're winning in life. It doesn't matter if it's coaching your life, in your family, at work. One of the things I learned, I didn't apply it because I didn't like the job, but if you guys still have day jobs, the way to get ahead at work is to work like you own the company, or to work like, if you work so hard when the boss wasn't looking, then you're getting somewhere. So the whole idea is to just give as much as you possibly can of yourself, to the point where people are just like, is he okay? Like, what's going on with this guy? So if you do that, you're winning, I think. So that's what it comes down to. Just give of yourself, of your time. Be mindful. Don't overextend yourself. Don't burn yourself out. But just genuinely try to help people. And I'm sure that there's a fine line somewhere between giving a lot, or maybe, I'm not going to say too much, but giving and then being able to ask for something, like you want your prospects to buy a challenge pack, right? You want your friends to help you move, things like that. You can't just say, I know we haven't spoken in a year and a half, but you want to help me move and paint and, do all this? They're gonna be like, no. You know what I mean? So be that friend who says happy birthday, or be that friend who visits the person in the hospital when they're sick, or remembers their kids' birthdays, or says congratulations on whatever it was, Be that friend who's there for people, you know, without asking for anything in return. It's just being a decent human being, whether it's business or, you know, or life. And by the way, we are in the people business. You're going to win. You're going to succeed eventually. So the last thing I'll say about it is that don't expect it to happen overnight. You know, it was Eric Worre. He said that when you first become a network marketer and you first start in this business, when you first start, you're either going to have it really good or maybe not so good. And that will depend on how you've lived your life, your whole life up to that point from when you first started. Because if you've been that person who's always there for somebody, who's always giving of yourself and of your time and of your expertise and of your help, and you were always just giving, no one's going to say no to you when you say, hey, could you at least just take a look? Tell me what you think. Hey, I have to go on a webinar tonight and I made a 2-minute, you know, recording of myself. Can you tell me what you think? Because I have to present at this thing and I'm shitting bricks. I'm really scared. I don't want to look crazy. Can I get your opinion? I really value your opinion. I would like to know what you think. No one's going to say no, especially if you visited them in the hospital, if you were at their kid's graduation, if you were there for their birthday party. If you did all those things, they're not going to say no to you. But if you were that jerk who never showed up, if you say you were going to call and you didn't, if you say, hey, I got your back and you never showed up, and you know you borrowed money and never paid it back, they're going to be like, no, I don't want to watch that. Why would you bother me with that? They won't even respond to you, you know? So in that sense, it just be nice, be a good person, you know, and good things will happen to you. It's like karma. It's like life. It's like the universe saying, hey, you're a good person, good things will happen to you, you know, one way or another. And that's key. You don't make the connection when you're a jerk to somebody, you know, today, and then 2 weeks from now, you catch a flat tire. You don't make that connection. But the universe is like, I got you, you know? And the other way around, you don't make the connection when you help the old lady cross the street, and 5 weeks later, you find $100 on the floor. You think it's a coincidence. You don't even think it's a coincidence. You're like, oh, I'm lucky. But no, it all balances out. It all plays its part. And you make it all happen. So
that's very interesting, that Eric Worre thing about, you know, your success early on in network marketing has a lot to do with how you lived your life before. And I've noticed that with people on my team, like a lot of people that come in that have really strong warm markets, that, you know, like a close circle of friends, they come in, they sell a bunch of challenge packs right away. And I noticed that the people that have gone on to, you know, success from that point, because let's face it, no matter how good your warm market is, you're eventually going to run out of people. That those people that went on to success past their warm market, it's only because they built a new warm market by connecting with people that they could relate to, relating to them, adding value to their lives and helping them. And when you do that, you're going to create more loyalty to yourself. So never neglect adding to your network and providing value. I just wanted to mention that because it just smacked me in the face when Al was talking. But does anyone else have any questions for Al?
I think that, Al, look, you obviously mentioned a bunch of personal development books, and besides, like, you know, Compound Effect, Slight Edge, Failing Forward, and kind of like, you know, GoPro and all of those like standard books that a lot of people are hearing now. Is there anything, you had mentioned Jab, Right Hook. Is there anything that you would recommend besides, you give us like 2 books that you would recommend?
Yeah, so I'm looking through my phone notes. I know I have a ton here. The 10X Rule, that's a great one by Grant Cardone. If you're looking to kind of break the habit of being yourself, this one's a little deep. It's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. It teaches you how to literally rewire your brain and how to meditate. It's deep level scientific stuff, but it works. I tried it. I didn't get it, you know, because it takes actual work. Like I said, I procrastinate and I still struggle with that, but Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself is a great book. Let's see what else. The 12-Week Year is a good book for you if you want to really cram a lot of work into a small amount of time. Magic of Thinking Big. Let's see. I have a ton of other stuff here. I can even give you guys a list. The Secret, I in all the Secret books. So the Secret is about the law of attraction. The Power is about love, and that being the only power in the universe. The work called Hero by the same author, Rhonda Byrne, is about you being the hero of your life. So no one's really gonna come and save you, in a sense. So the book Hero is about, it documents, I think, 5 or 6 different people, most of them famous, who we may or may not know, but that they came from, you know, troubled past, or they overcame some really negative thing in their life to become successful. And she talks about how they all did it. But the whole point was that they were the ones who did it. Like, no one had to do it. No one did it for them. There's another book I listened to it a long time ago. It's called Selling with Noble Purpose. And that was pretty good. And the title is kind of self-explanatory, but I think I got that point out of the book. The 5-Second Rule is a good book. If you struggle with taking action, which is something that I used to struggle with. Like I said, procrastinated a lot. So the 5-Second Rule, just like the title says, it encourages you to take action in 5 seconds. So, but I have a whole list, and I can even share some links to other documents and audios that I have that are of great books that you guys should be listening to or reading.
Awesome.
That reminds me of the 5-Second Rule. Have you ever seen We're the Millers?
The what?
We're the Millers?
No.
You haven't seen it? He
Al, you gotta watch that movie.
Oh my gosh, you love the movie. Sorry, my dog is just having a fit over here. If you guys ever seen the 5-Second Rule, it's basically, you know, the father is telling his son, like, well, there's this 5-Second Rule I used to live by. If it comes to about, like, a girl that you want to...
It's actually 3 seconds. 3,
No, I'm talking about a movie.
You know, the Millers. 3, 2...
Oh, sorry. It was 3 seconds. So maybe 3, 5 seconds. 5 seconds if you want to give yourself 2 extra seconds of leeway, but you don't hesitate. So he said, okay, we'll just count down from 3 and then just do it. 3, 2, 1, boom. And this way you don't even give yourself time to think. You just do it.
Just do it.
Kissing this girl in 3 seconds. And it was cute. I just thought it was a good thing to live by. Because
Is it on Netflix?
That time, yeah, I think so. It's so funny.
Yeah,
oh my god, it's so
laughing.
funny. Yeah, it's a
Okay, I'm gonna watch it.
that they hid in there or whatever. I
Yeah.
thought it was really great. So,
Yeah.
but all right, thank you guys. I mean, we really appreciate Al. Like, you know, there were so many mic drops and so many bombs. I guess you
Yeah,
just like
mad takeaways.
yeah,
like,
for real.
yeah, I'm gonna post this in the team page and just comment, you know, with your takeaways so I could relate them to Al and, you know, let him know how much we appreciate him, you know, when you watch the recording. So, Al, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much, and you know, it was an honor to have you speak on our call.
It was my pleasure, man. Thank you guys so much. And anytime you guys want me to come back on, it'll be my pleasure. So I could thankful and grateful. I appreciate it.
Yeah, most definitely.
Most definitely.
Thank you so much, guys. And thank you guys for being here. Also, thank you guys. Hold on one second. If you guys are going to watch the replay, if you guys are watching the replay right now, thank you guys for joining us. So we appreciate you all always, as always, for being here. And we'll see you guys next week. All right?
That's it, guys. Have a good night.
Bye,
Peace out.
guys.
Thank you guys. Peace out.